So, Rosel, you had a unique experience in that you had two auditions, and then that turned into, was it six or seven auditions that you then had to extend your stay by a few weeks to accommodate those last minute auditions, correct?
Yes, the hits kept on coming. Sort of once the motion was set, once I actually set foot in the place. Like you had told me, Patrick, this will happen, and but you have to be here on terra firma. I was having some really good traction on my initial audition, and I had my ZFR audition very successfully, and from that they just kept sending me out to different places. I was getting through to the second rounds of things. I ended up in A houses and was singing very well, but they would have sort of questions about the size of my instrument, or there'd be something that culture wise, where is the best fit? And I think that's really important to be looking out for what is the best kind of opera house for your personality as well. But I think you were on the receiving end of a phone call from me in Linz, in Austria, a tiny sort of snowy town in Austria. And I was coming towards the end of my trip. And basically, I'd had my return ticket booked to go home. And you said, hang on in there. Don't go home just yet. Because I have a feeling you're just about to reach your breakthrough.
I remembered how frustrated you were, and I was so happy when you decided to stick it out. We came up with a strategy, and I remember I had to look at the train schedules and the plane schedules because you had all these back-to-back auditions in different cities. So we had to kind of come up with a travel itinerary that made sense as you were crisscrossing the continent.
And I had to go back to places several times where I'd come from. And I remember telling my brother before I left on the plane from New Zealand, I'm going to get a job. I'm coming back home with a job, and I'm not coming home until I get one. And I remember the very emotional phone call. I was in floods of tears upon receiving the news on the day of my audition at the theatre as well, and receiving, that glass of Prosecco from the hotel I was staying at.
I was so thrilled. I went out and celebrated that night in your honor because it was such a great feeling to know that, you had done the work, you had really stuck to a plan, and also you were super flexible. I mean, you came over with two auditions and walked away with seven. So that's really quite an accomplishment.
There's no way I could have done it without you. And I think one of the greatest ways you shaped my time here was just mindset. You said that Roselle version of Roselle can wait until the end. You can give up when you go home. And I just remember that. And I was like a terrier dog and just not giving up. And